I have to talk about this because there's something deeper to this story. So the NBA has officially banned Jontay Porter basically for life. So, in case you've been living under a rock, because obviously I'm late to this story in that I do a Tuesday show. So if news breaks on Wednesday of the week before, I'm not going to talk about it until Tuesday. But Jontay Porter, basically TLDR, he was betting on games he was playing in. He was throwing it away, like he was like betting over unders on how many rebounds he'd get. He was intentionally messing with the integrity of the game. And so they banned him for life. Now, this would be kind of like an interesting tidbit. But to me, it shows everything that is wrong with sports gambling. And the reason why sports leagues and states in the country didn't really ever move on legalizing it is because of stuff like this. Now you might say, well, I should be allowed to just, make a sport. What's the big deal if I choose to bet on sports? Jontay Porter, obviously, he should know better. That's fair. Okay, that's actually a fair point. My only thing is, if we know that the league and the players are at least as human as us and are going to be at least as interested in sports gambling as any other average sports fan, which, whether you like the NBA's decision here or not, or whether you like any of these NBA players, whether you even like Jontay Porter as a person, I mean, like, he's a sports fan, right? Like, he's going to bet on sports, right? And especially for a guy like Jontay Porter, who nobody really, I certainly didn't know him, and maybe that's not much of an indication of anything because I only follow the NBA, a little bit casually, but like a guy like him, some nobody, he can make a lot of money just gambling these sorts of parlays or whatever, and he'll make a lot more money probably doing that than like actually getting contracts in a way. Now, obviously, it's a lot riskier, right? There's more of a investment and then potential payout or loss. But the thing for me about this is like, is this worth it? Is it worth it to have sports gambling if we have these sorts of things that, harm the integrity of the game? Because now it's like, look, sure, maybe Jontay Porter is the only one. Do you really think that? I mean, the NFL already had cases of guys betting on games. I mean, obviously Calvin Ridley. You had JMO, right? Like, granted, he wasn't betting on games that he was in, but the point is that players are betting on games, and probably coaches are betting on games, and probably GMs are betting on games. Like, excuse me, probably if you're involved in sports in any way, probably you've bet on something or you've given somebody betting advice. This is the territory. We've opened Pandora's box, and the leagues are in on it. I mean, the baseball, football, hockey, basketball, every single one of them has an official sports book, right? Like, whether it's DraftKings or FanDuel or Bet Online or, Underdog or any of these other ones, like everything about sports, like, discussion, a lot of it revolves around the betting. We talk about over-unders. We talk about betting lines. We talk about who's favorite. Who does Vegas like? Stuff like that. Like, it's taken over the game. And Jontay Porter being banned is the justifiable response. But as far as I'm concerned, Jontay Porter shouldn't have been allowed. Like, this shouldn't have even happened, right? Jontay Porter shouldn't have even had the availability of sports betting. And I don't really see why people, like, I don't sports bet. So maybe I'm trying to influence, and I'm trying to put my lifestyle on everybody else. Maybe that's what I'm doing. But in my mind, like, what is the benefit of sports bet? It's fun. Okay. Is that it? It's just kind of fun? Like, that's not enough of a reason for me. Clearly, it makes people not as interested to watch the game. How many more Jontay Porters are there in the NBA? Or are like how many of the referees? I mean, people talk about, refs rigging games. Like, we have referees that could have easy access to DraftKings or to FanDuel or to, Underdog Fantasy or any of these. Like, we thought fantasy football and all these other things that they might influence game. We're talking about real, like, money, right? Like, we're talking about, like, actual, like, monetary value that can be added for a player like Jontay Porter, who is not well known, who is probably was going to be just like a journeyman if he wasn't already. I don't know enough about Jontay Porter to declare that he's, I really don't know anything about him other than the fact that he gambled. Like, why would a player who is only going to make, like, maybe a couple $1 million in the league in his career over a span of, like, I don't know, 15 years or something, like, he can make a lot of more money gambling on himself, influencing other sports books, and getting literally easy money, because all he's got to do is bet himself on, the point total, and, just go from there, right? Just be like, all right, well, I want to bet the under on me getting 10.5 points. I'll get 9 points, and then I'll fake an injury. I mean, we already saw it, and I know it's a different situation with Shohei Ohtani and his translator. Like, how can we trust anybody? We can't. Like players get themselves into trouble. We already know, like, obviously Michael Jordan's story with the gambling and all the conspiracy around that. Like, I just don't see how this enhances the sport. Certainly not. It doesn't help Jontay Porter's of the world. It really doesn't help me, the consumer, because I can't stand all the betting ads that I have to see every time I watch any game. It's gotten to the point where even, like, ESPN has a sports book. The sports, like, the broadcaster of the game now has an interest in the outcome of the game. All I'm saying is, maybe we should really take a look at how these leagues are handling the relationship between sports gambling. I'd be okay. I mean, obviously, it's already legal in the state of Michigan, at least. So, short of them just passing a law making it illegal again, it's going to stay legal. I'd be perfectly fine with every league saying zero tolerance. Like, we're not going to advertise it. We're not going to, like, have our own sports books. We're not going to have our own sponsors. And if you're caught in any way using any of these sports gamblings, you're just done. Right? Like, I'm fine with that. Okay? And make it very clear to the players. Tell coaches, or have coaches, have GMs, have owners, talk to the players. Ensure, like, put some software on their devices to where they can't download stuff. Because, like, heaven forbid Jontay Porter's name was Giannis Antetokounmpo. Heaven forbid his name was, Nikola Jokic. Heaven forbid his name was James Harden or LeBron James. Like, they're lucky. The NBA is lucky that it wasn't some big name player. But it's only a matter of time till it becomes one. Pete Rose is a big name player. Like, he should be in the Hall of Fame as far as a player, as far as play goes. But he's not because of gambling. Because of sports gambling. So, yeah. I thought it was an interesting story, and I wanted to take that angle with it. I'm curious what you guys think. If you could, leave a comment. I certainly have had trouble with a lot of these sports gambling. It just bothers me. I think it's annoying. So curious what other people think. Hey there, what you just watched was actually a clip from a larger show that we do every Tuesday night. What are you doing Tuesday night? Go ahead and hit the subscribe button and the like button so that you don't miss out on any more of our weekly shows every single Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Hope to see you there.